Good morning, Stampers. I'm Pat Fairless, and I'm here with you today on Learning with Friends. I am from Fairless Stamp and Flair, and I am so glad you're here. Today I have a fun technique for you. It's paper weaving. Now, maybe some of you have done basket weaving. I've always wanted to try it, but I never have. I do have one of my stampers that did many years of basket weaving, I understand, and enjoyed it a lot. But we're gonna weave today with paper for our cards. So let's go ahead and flip my camera down and get to it. Okay, I'm going to show you the first card I did because I learned something by making this card. So this was the first one I did with the weaving technique. And what I learned is that if you look here up here in the corner closely, you can see there's kind of a skinny little rectangle. Well, that doesn't work real well. It works much better if that space is square. And I will show you the reason why. It has to do with getting the next strip in when you start weaving in the opposite direction. So just remember, you kind of want this to be square. So the thing is, you can't move this first Blackberry Bliss one here way over because this has been glued down. And so you really need to start it down about the 1/4 inch that you're going to need for gluing. So I made several cards today, and I'm going to show you all of them. But I wanted to do one that instead of on a white or very vanilla background, it was on a colored background, just to see how that went. So this is obviously a Christmas card. You can see I've got some Christmas strips. This one I am actually using designer series paper. On some of them I used foil cardstock. On some I used regular cardstock. And I was just playing around and experimenting, trying to figure out what worked best. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to start with my horizontal strips. And like I said, what I'm going to do is glue about 1/4 inch here. And the reason I can't put it right at the top is because then I can't get the next piece in there. So we want to go about 1/4 inch down. So I'm just going to, and I probably should have brought my little silicone mat because it does tend to get a little bit messy. And you don't want to get it too heavy on here, but you want about 1/4 inch. And you can use your grid paper. It's not super critical, but if you want to get it straight, you can use your grid paper like this. You can just line it up. You have some flexibility, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. And I have extra glue on my finger that I wiped off, so we'll put it on there. I always forget something when I do these. No matter how long I sit here and look through my supplies and try to figure out if I have everything I need, I always come away not having something. So I'm going to put about a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch gap, and I just hold it for a minute. It does kind of work best if you glue one side and then let it dry, but I'm not going to sit here and make you watch glue dry. That would not be very interesting or very fun, right? So just don't try to put too much on there. And you can hang it out over the edge. Like this one is a little crooked on that edge. I didn't cut it straight, so I'm just going to hang it off this we can come over and trim them off later. These are 1/4 inch strips, and I'm going to actually make my grid 5 by 5 today, but you can make them any size you like. And I've played with different ones, and I'll show you those. It kind of depends on what you want the card to end up with, I guess. How big you want your weaving pattern to be. So I'm just holding it down there for just a second. And we'll add one more. Am I in frame? I guess I am. It's been a while since I've made a video, so I took Thanksgiving off, as I indicated, and now I'm back. And as I've indicated many times, I'm just going to hold this for a second. I have a lot of construction going on in my house, and so I am actually pre-recording this video because there was no way I could do a video with the contractors here building and hammering and sawing and doing what they have to do and not having it interfere with the noise. So I decided I'm just going to go ahead and pre-record it. I'm recording this on Sunday after Thanksgiving, and we have a very cold and dreary day here. It is actually snowing pretty hard right now here in southeast Michigan. And as long as it doesn't accumulate, I'm okay. If I have to go out and start shoveling snow already, I won't be real happy camper. Okay, so like I said, it kind of works best if we hold this and wait until it's dry, but we're going to just go ahead and work carefully. So I'm going to turn it this way, and then I'm going to use this plaid. This designer paper is from the mini catalog, Joyful Christmas or something like that. I never paid. I always tell you I should write these down before I start, but I didn't. So we are just going to weave this in, and we leave the rest of this open, and we're just going to weave underneath. And see, here's what I mean. I can only pull this so close to the edge because this is all been glued down. So I want to end up with about a square. That's how I just eyeballed it, spacing it down. So I am going to put a little bit of glue under here, not much, and I'm just going to glue this one end and hold it for a second, and I will. And we do have room to scooch these around if they're not perfectly straight, but we can use our grid to line that up. Now the next one, I'm going to go, instead of over, I'm going under the opposite ones. Okay, so you can see how that's over, under, over, under, over. Now I'm going under, over, under, over, under. It's just simple weaving. I think we all know how to do that. And I have found that you can either put the glue on the back of this or of your stripe you're weaving, or you can just put it right on the cardstock. For me, it works best on the cardstock because then I can hold this end. I also like to make these longer so I can come back and trim them off. I've seen some videos where they cut them to length. This is, I believe, 5 by 3 3/4. You can make it any size you want. And they cut their strips to length. My problem then is I found it easier if it's longer. I have something to grab onto. And if I put the glue on here, I'm less likely to grab onto the glue and get it on my fingers, even though I have some on my fingers already. So now we're just going to weave it again. This is kind of a monochromatic weaving. It's the only one I've done where the weaving stripes are basically the same. One is more of a solid, kind of a mottled designer series paper, and this one is the check or plaid. But I wanted to see how that looked, and I thought, I'll give it a try. Okay, so now again, we go under, over. We're just switching back and forth. This is not hard. Now, I probably could have tried to line up the plaids going across, but I thought it was actually a little bit more interesting if they weren't exactly aligned, the plaids in this direction. So I didn't pay too much attention to that. But you could do it so these all line up in the opposite direction as well. And one more. So we'll put a little glue down. And now we're going to weave the opposite. And I'm just kind of watching it so the spacing is equal in both directions so that in the weaving we kind of end up with a little square. Okay, and that's all there really is to it. Now we're just going to take these and lift these. And now here's where the grid paper helps a little bit because I can line that up. And all I'm doing is gluing the ends. You could do like lift this up higher and glue the full length if you want. Just don't add too much because it will tend to goosh out and then you'll have a mess. If you don't mind it loose and gives it a little more texture, I found, but if you prefer, you can certainly glue it down the full length. So I'll just do the rest of these the full length. And move them a little bit just so you keep your gaps equal, I guess is what I'd say. You want to make sure you get the end though. This is moved. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'm just going to hold this for a second, make sure it gets stuck down. Okay, and we can do the same thing along here. Or if you prefer, you can put it on the back here. This I found got my hands a little messier when I tried to put it on the back. That could be just me. I am not necessarily a liquid glue person. I use it for things where it seems to work best for me, but I don't use it for everything. I tend to use our Stamp and Seal more. I make less of a mess. And I try to be so careful and not put too much glue on, but it still tends to run out and get all over my fingers. Like it kind of is right now. But I do know in this case it works good because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room, which is always an advantage when you might have to straighten something out, right? Okay, I think those came out pretty straight. They look pretty straight on my grid. So let me put this away. And my thing for getting rid of glue on my fingers is I have some hand sanitizer, and this is alcohol free. And I just spray my hands with this and it takes the glue off, which is nice. Okay, so get out of our way. So I'm going to take this now, and it's got a little bit glued down. Like I said, that's the one I put the glue on the back. So now I'm just going to take my paper snips, and I will use the back of the card and just trim along the edge. See how easy that is? So, and one more side. Okay. So there is our completed weaving pattern. Let me get some of this junk out of the way. I will just move this out of here since we're done gluing. I can get rid of that. I usually have a little low tack on here to hold that in place. So let's just use this, and let's go ahead and put the rest of this card together. So I have my Stamp and Seal. And we will just quickly put this together because this is mainly our cover. This is the focal point of our card. So I'm going to put this cherry cobbler on crumb cake. This is a good old-fashioned Christmas card color combination, crumb cake, cherry cobbler, and shaded spruce, right? And then I'll put it on our shaded spruce card. Make sure I got it the right way. I'll hear that there. Okay. Now, all that's left is we need to add a greeting, a cremated greeting. I used tailor-made tags, cut a couple tags. This ribbon is from the combination burlap and copper ribbon in the mini catalog. I don't believe it's carrying over, but it's maybe on clearance under the last chance list. I'm not sure, but it's called burlap, but it's really soft. It doesn't feel at all like burlap. It's nice and soft. However, it is quite wide. It's an inch. So we're getting it through this small hole here. We kind of had to roll it up. And I did use the reinforcements. I put it on both the Very Vanilla and the check designer paper just to kind of protect it as I was feeding it through so I didn't tear the hole. And we're just going to lay this on here. Now, which way do I want those? I think I like it that way. So let's just add some dimensionals on the back. Oh, that fell down before I wanted it. I'm going to get on that edge to kind of hold it in place. Okay. Now, if you're the kind of person that makes 50 of the same card, I don't know if I'd want to do this 50 times with the weaving, but it's kind of a fun technique. And there we go. There's our completed Christmas card. On the inside, I just added a strip of the same designer series paper with a mat of a little bit of cherry cobbler just to tie it into the color in the front. So there is the first card. The second card, if I can show you, here's the envelope. This is Very Vanilla, as is the tag. And the other card I showed you was this one. Here I used Blackberry Bliss, Moody Mauve, and Old Olive. And I have 6 woven patterns, but I have 3 of each color. So it's repeated. And again, I just added a simple sentiment down here. I think you don't want to detract from the weaving, so keep it simple. And on the inside, I did a little bit different. I just I used 3 of each in each direction, but instead of running it the whole way, I just trimmed them at kind of a random angle. They're not perfect, didn't need them to be, but that's how I finished the inside. And I have a Thanksgiving card for next year. Since Thanksgiving is now done. The last 2 cards are also Christmas cards, and here I did the weaving. I went around all 4 sides, and it is the same designer series paper that we used today on the card that I made. The tree is from Regal Reindeer, and they have a die in there that cuts out all these little ornaments, which is I die cut out of some red glitter paper. But if you want to do, like, make a frame with the weaving, that works great too. Here you can see I did not glue these down in the center. So there's a little bit more texture to it. If you like this look where you make a frame, my recommendation is start in one corner, create this one, then go over here, create this one, and work your way around until you finish up at the last corner. I didn't do that the first time. The second time I did it, I worked my way around and it was just a little bit easier. So there's card number 3. Let's see what I do on the inside on this one. I think I did the similar to what I did on the inside of this one here, but I just did it in the 2 corners. So there is that card. And the last card I did with foil. I have silver and gold foil on here. Actually, it goes this way. And I used the pine cone dies to cut some silver and gold pine cones and just made a little cluster up here in the corner. This one I have 3 in each direction, 2 gold going horizontal and 1 silver, and then down I have 2 silver and 1 gold. But again, you could do that any way you want. It's pretty optional how you want to do that. And here I just put 3 simple strips. So those are my cards for today. What do you think? Do you like that technique? Let me go flip it back here. And all right, so I hope you like that. I also hope it quits snowing soon, because man, it's really coming down when I look outside. But I'm so glad you joined me. If you like this video or found it helpful, or maybe just learned something, if you give me a thumbs up, that would be great. Help me grow my channel by subscribing. I'd love that. But again, I'm here each week on Thursday mornings at 10 with normally a technique. As we come up on Christmas, I may do some more 3D things. I'm not sure. I haven't exactly figured out what I'm doing next week yet, but things are working in my mind. So we'll figure it out. And I hope to see you back here next week. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.